Hi everyone, Jill Hicks here, and this is R101. And today's topic or video is called Injuries and the College Recruiting Process. This is one of my favorites because I think when you finish this video, you're going to be encouraged, inspired, and surprised at all the things that you can be doing as an athlete, even though you might be injured. All right, so I'm going to get my journal out again. For each of these videos, there's something for you to be writing down, especially you as the athlete. And I want to be sure that you take advantage of every situation and every video that I'm going to be giving you tips on. So get out your journals and let's write down. At the top, I want it to say, injuries are not roadblocks. They're just speed bumps, okay? So be encouraged, girls. If you go through a time where you've been injured or you are injured right now, I want you to know college coaches are used to injuries. They're dealing with it with their own athletes every single day. So when you get injured, it can feel like the end of the world because you've been working so hard and you're trying to get those upgrades and you're trying to compete well, and then you have this pause. I call it a pause and not a stop in the recruiting process. And the fact that they're going through it with their own athletes, that's the way they see it too. So just look at it like a momentary pause. All right. And I want and hope that after today, you'll have a plan in place, and that you will see that when you're injured, it's not about what you can't do, but about what you can do. And you just have to give yourselves, 24-hour period to have a pity party, be sad, because of course you're going to be sad when you get injured. Injuries are so frustrating. So you need to give yourself that time to feel the pain, the frustration. And then after that period of time, you need to have a plan in place, be positive, and see it as just a different challenge in your day and in your process to becoming a college recruit. All right. So the first thing I recommend is that you're not in the gym for 4 hours. So if you have one of those injuries where you're actually going to have surgery and you're going to, be immobile for a while until you get through the surgery and it's safe to be in the gym, of course, always, always, always talk to your doctor first and make sure of the timing of all of the, when you're to be back in the gym, what you're allowed to do. Always follow the doctor's advice. Mine is just an overall within what the doctor orders, not me being a doctor here trying to tell you what to do with injuries, okay? So keep that in mind. But I don't recommend that you're in the gym for 4 hours. Let's say your practice time is 4 hours typically every day. Talk to your coaches. See if you can narrow that down a little bit, cut it back a little, because I think that's a lot of hours to be at the gym focused on trying to figure out what you should do. And if you knew you only had to be in there 2.5 to 3 hours a day, I think you would work a lot harder. Okay, so that's the first thing I recommend is ask if you can shorten your time in the gym. And then head home and work really hard on your homework. Second, make a plan. And I think when your club coaches can see that you have a plan in place, they're going to be a lot more inspired to have you not be in the gym as much until you're capable of being on the equipment more. But doesn't mean there isn't a whole lot you can do every day. So I'm going to come up with this plan with you that you can utilize if you're going through an injury. And third, remember to stay positive. Have a support system surrounding you, like friends and family and teammates. I think going through injuries, the number one thing that happens is you feel alone. You feel alone in the gym. You feel kind of that even at home, it's so discouraging and disappointing. All of a sudden, everything feels like it's on hold, and that's really hard emotionally. So we don't want you to be alone. We want you to be encouraged. We want you to be around people who are positive so that you can be positive too. But what I do notice is that the more you look at this in a positive way, the faster you might recover, they have proven, and the more people are going to go, hey, she's got this. This isn't an end all. This is just a speed bump in her path. All right, so the first thing I recommend is to get out your journal or a notebook, because we're going to be doing a lot of work when you're injured on paper. I think one way to not feel lonely and feel like you're being kind of pushed aside in the gym is that you develop a plan with your notebook and you bring it in every single day. And what I recommend is that you're going to hold yourself accountable to some things. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is write the date of injury and write the date when the doctor said you could potentially be back in the gym, working out on all events. Or you can even put dates of in 3 weeks, you'll be back to the doctor, get your stitches out, all the progress that in your head the doctor has told you that you should be having if your body heals properly. All right. Now, you're going to write down these categories that I'm going to give you in a few minutes, and you're going to be tracking yourself. All right, so you're going to write out the date of the injury and when your goal is to be back, and then you're going to write down these specific categories. And I'll give those to you in a second. Second, I want you to make a dream board or a goal board in your bedroom. So something visual that you can see every single day. And you can cut out stuff from magazines, your favorite quotes, anything that's inspirational, somebody that you know of that was an athlete that might have had an injury and came back. Anything that creates positive thinking for you and helps you to visualize by seeing it that you're going to get through it. Okay, so something in your bedroom like that. And also, I recommend you read a favorite motivational book during this period of time. So again, it can be a biography of an athlete who went through an injury, or it can be just a book that's inspiring to you about setting goals, being an athlete, mentally, what you can be doing as an athlete, even though you can't be physically out there. All right, so those are the 3 basic things that I recommend before we get started with the specific items that I want you to write in your notebook. So the items that I want you to write down are, number 1, mental skills training. Number 2, flexibility. Number 3, and we're going to come back to all these and I'm going to explain them. Cardio. Number 4, strength training. Number 5, encouraging others in the gym. Number 6, college coaches and communication. Number 7, rehab. Number 8, nutrition. Number 9, rest. Number 10, school. And number 11, college recruiting. Okay, so here's what I want you to think about as I go into each of these categories. At the top, I want you to also write that you're going to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 is, I had a really bad day, I didn't get anything done. And a 10 would be, I got everything done and I did it with 100% effort. Okay, so that's going to be your accountability to yourself in your notebook. And at the top, I also want you to write, I want to get 1% better every day. All right. So sometimes when we get injured, we feel like we're stuck and we don't really feel very motivated. All of a sudden, everything changes. You're not out on the floor. You're not being coached as much. You're not being told what you're doing well. You're pretty much on your own. And it's hard to feel like there's anything you can work towards. But if you fulfill all these categories, doesn't mean you have to score yourself a 10 every day. But if you can work on all these categories, and there's 11, so there's a lot of work we got to do, even when we're injured, and you start feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm getting better in this area. I actually, all 11 areas I got better in, even if it's little steps, okay? So 1% better is what I want you to focus on. So you're not feeling like you're not moving forward. You can always get a little bit better, even when you can't do what you were doing the day before you got injured. All right, so let's get into it here. So mental skills training, this is huge. When you're in motion, not injured, and you're on your events, doing your assignments, a lot of times this gets pushed to the side. So now is your time to work on your mental skills training, which I mean by that is your brain. So your brain's a muscle. And a lot of club coaches forget about that. And they're working on it with you, but not necessarily without the physical. So now you're not allowed to do the physical training part, let's say, on an event or on any events for a while. So you're going to work on your brain muscle. And what I want you to do is visualize your routines or your training if you're in the summer and your fall time when you're just doing half routines. But whatever you would normally do in your assignment, you're going to do it in your brain. So you're going to do 10 of whatever, if it's full routines, 10 routines on each event, and you're going to close your eyes, or some people like their eyes open, and some people like to stand by the event, and some people like to do it when they're at home and not anyone watching them. But 10 routines on each event, or 10 items on each event, okay? And it's not easy. Some people have a really challenge to visualizing. So if that's you, it can take practice. So don't get discouraged, just keep trying. But 10 of each event, okay? Hold yourself accountable. So you're going to score yourself. Was I able to do 10 routines as good as I would have done them physically on a scale of 1 to 10? So you're going to score yourself. All right, during the visualization, you should be saying exactly what you normally would say if you weren't injured. So that's the goal. You're saying it in your mind with your eyes closed. You're just not physically doing it. All right. And let's see, use words in your routines. You might want to add to what you've done before, but they should have confidence words, and use the word breathe. So you might want to add those to your routines because they really help down the road. All right. You want to start with a salute and finish with a salute, like there's a judge. That's the other big thing. That's when you know you've completed the whole routine visually, right? Great. And then be sure you score yourself. Flexibility is the next station I want you to be doing. And this should be like a spot in the gym where you're not talking or chatting it up, but you're actually really working on flexibility. Now, not every gymnast is flexible. Most gymnasts are not. So there's usually one area on your body that you need to be working on your flexibility, which you probably wouldn't do if you were actually working out as much. So it's a great time to get more flexible. So you want to measure it. You want to do something in your flexibility. So if you are, here's an example. If you're working over splits and you're not very good at it, in fact, you can only raise the mat this much, one level, and get your foot up on it in the front, then hopefully by the end of this period of time while you've been injured, you'll be able to stack mats higher and higher and have your foot elevated higher and higher. So you want to set some kind of a measurement so that you can gauge it. Now, if you have a wrist injury or wrist surgery, then this is a great time to work your splits, right? Now, you can't put pressure on your wrist, but obviously you can find ways to work your splits pretty easily. If you have a foot injury, then you can work your shoulder flexibility. You might even be able to work your back injury, flexibility. So whatever body part is injured, and of course, ask your doctor, the other parts of your body, you're going to work on your flexibility. All right. Now we're going to move on, and be sure to score yourself every day of how hard you worked on your flexibility. So maybe set a timer so that you stay in your splits a certain amount of time, whatever it is, to hold yourself accountable. But it should take a significant amount of your practice day or time to work on that. Cardio. Always, always keep up your cardio. Now, most gyms I go into have a bike or elliptical or something. If you don't, then I recommend, if possible, you get in a gym that does. So you go to like 24-hour fitness or Orange Theory or whatever you can pay for a short membership to get to it, okay? Now, if you can't run, jump, or do any of that because your leg's injured, then you should be doing the arm cardio or anything. Swimming, if you're allowed to when you can, is a great cardio. It's not fun for most gymnasts, but it's great. Be creative. Hire somebody to help your daughter, or you ask your parents if you can hire someone to get you through this 6-week period or however long to keep your cardio up. Super important. All right, and those are the main things on cardio, and then you have to score yourself. And I recommend 30 to 40 minutes a day. Okay, so maybe not Sundays, but all the other days, if you can get in some cardio, you're going to come back stronger than when you were injured, and you're going to feel amazing. So be sure you figure out a place and a time to do whatever your doctor's allowing you to do safely. Strength. All right, so here, once again, there are always strength exercises you can do on the body parts that aren't injured. So find out from your doctor what they're going to allow you to do, or hire someone to help you through that. Write out weekly an assignment with a certain amount of reps so that you're not just over there lifting a weight, but have a plan of how many you want to do every single day and how many reps. All right, and be sure you score yourself. Number 5, encourage others in the gym. Now, sometimes this can be one of the hardest ones. And some girls, it's the easiest. It just depends on your personality. But this is a skill that college coaches are looking for. So if you need to work on this, when you're injured, it's a great time to do it. And oftentimes we find when we encourage others, we actually feel happier. So it's not always fun to be injured, but this is a way to practice being unselfish and giving to others. And actually, it can be one of those things that might surprise you, that you go home feeling a lot better about yourself than you did when you came in. So be aware of that. And then score yourself. How positive were you that day? How many people did you encourage? Maybe have a list of how many people you want to encourage. Anything that you can go home and score yourself on, give yourself a number, is helpful. Number 6, college coaches and communication. All right, we want to let the college coaches know. I always say in one sentence or less. If you're deep in recruiting, you want to let them know this is what's going on. This is how I'm going to take care of it. So you don't go all into the injury and how bad it is and all of that. Nope, one sentence. I want to let you know I sprained my ankle. I'm going to be out for 6 weeks. Here's my plan. And you send them this plan that I'm giving you. You will shock the coaches, okay? I think a lot of girls would love to do something like this. They just don't know how. They've never been taught. They've never been encouraged. But college coaches love to see how you're managing injuries. And this would be a great time to let them know. Now, if you're deep in recruiting, they definitely need to know everything about the injury. They need to know what the doctor said. They need to know all of that, okay? You might want to make a phone call. If you're not really being recruited, but you just don't want to fall off the radar, then you keep it short and sweet. And it's all about the comeback and what you're doing to be positive and effective and holding yourself accountable to other areas. Super important. You can make a video of yourself doing some of these things. They love that. and just letting them know how you're going to work through the injury, not so much in detail about the injury. All right. And then score yourself. Are you staying consistently on it every week, letting the coaches know how it's going? That would give yourself a 10 for that, you know? All right. Then we're on to number 7, rehab. Super important. Okay, a lot of times you're going to be going to a physical therapist, which is so great because they'll help hold you accountable in your rehab. But if not, and they've told you certain exercises to do and icing and all those things, you need to hold yourself accountable to that. Write them down. What are you supposed to do? And even though it gets frustrating and old and boring, it's going to help you heal faster. So be sure you hold yourself accountable in that area. Nutrition, super important. Okay, this is not a time to let go of your good eating habits. You want to continue to show the college coaches that you're going to stay fit and strong. And one way to heal your body, sometimes faster, is by your nutritional choices. So don't let up, and definitely evaluate how you're doing and have a goal and some plan in place so that you stay on top of your nutritional choices. Rest. Rest, rest, rest. This is a great time to let your body heal. Maybe other parts of your body needed to heal even though they're not injured. It's a great time to do that. Catch up on some sleep. Relax. Maybe do outside activities that you haven't done before. Maybe that is so good for your mind and your body to pick up something you have always wanted to do that you weren't able to do before. That can be really fun too. Number 10, school. During this period of time when you're pausing and not in the gym quite as much, you can catch up on school. You can do volunteer work. Then get in those volunteer hours. Maybe practice for your PSAT, SAT, ACTs. Maybe hire a tutor. There's so many things you can do to move your grades in a positive direction or keep them going in a positive direction during this period of time where you might not be in the gym as much, and score yourself. College recruiting. It's more time you can be researching colleges. Maybe you go on a visit, go to meets. There's just so many things you can be doing in the college recruiting process that will possibly you couldn't have done before. So, and it shows the college coaches that you are moving forward, staying positive, and not getting down. So score yourself in that category. All right. You have a lot to do. So if you're injured, this is not a time to hold back, but to be encouraged, be hopeful, and really have a plan. And I think at the end of each week, I would recommend that you add up your totals and see how you did. All right. And maybe even share it with somebody you trust so that they can take a look at it too and be excited for you and help hold you accountable as well. So remember, injuries are not roadblocks, they are speed bumps. And you will get better, you will heal, and college coaches completely understand. So I hope this was encouraging and positive for you, and I know you can get through anything, and I wish you all the best and fast and safe healing.